I did pop a melatonin, so if I fall asleep, I apologize.
Alright, everybody. We're here to play the Northern Lights, our first Let's Try in a while. I've got Jericho here, because Toaster's been busy lately. And
yes, I'm the backup.
To hop in. This is the latest visual novel that has art by Haps again. Somehow there's more. I don't understand.
He's crazy.
How he just keeps going. Who am I? Well, I'm Cody. Always default on these playthroughs. There were only two things pleasant about waking up that morning. The warm, refreshing aromas of the bayou, and the knowledge that my friends would be here soon. For our last summer day together. Sitting on the edge of the bed, I glanced over at the nightstand and picked up a small geode resting by the lamp, turning it back and forth, watching the crystals glimmer in the morning light. The sight of it was always a comfort, filling me with strength whenever I felt weak. I'd gotten up early, taking time to repack my bags, hoping I'd figure out how to fit more stuff in. It was a losing battle, however, and I was lucky I could still fit everything I'd already packed back in. Carefully wrapping the geode in my thickest shirt, tucked into my backpack before wandering over to the closet. Fishing around, I made sure that I accounted for all the reels of film and that small projector was packed. As I rummaged through and sorted the box, I almost couldn't believe how many movies my friends and I had created over the years. Suddenly, something tapped against my window, my eyes darting towards the sound, spotting Tobin, with his casual, confident smile. Quickly, I opened the latch, and the window slid up. There he is.
He's super cute.
Look at him. Oh, he blinks.
Yeah, they got the blinkies and the talkies.
Startling. You want to voice Tobin?
Oh god, he speaks French, so we'll see.
So we're both doomed. Tobin crawled through and stood up, taking a moment to straighten his shirt before pulling me into a brief hug. Tobin was a scrawny fox, and one of my best friends. Puberty hasn't been kind, save for how energetic he is. He knows English, but like most Creole folk, knows and prefers French.
Oh god. Bonjour, Cody. Good morning, Cody. Ready to go? You're not. No, I can't do that.
You're doomed. You're immediately doomed.
No.
Bonjour, Tobin. I guess I am. Just hard since my roots are here and they want to stay. No matter what my pa said. It wasn't long before Liam stuck his snout through the window, grinning stupidly as he forced his large shape inside. Anyway, surprise, Perp's here now. Jump cut. There was a jump cut when he appeared. That's what happened.
Here I am.
It wasn't long before Liam stuck his snout through the window, grinning stupidly as he forced his large shape inside. Look at him. The sill creaked and groaned as the wood threatened to give out under the big gator. Oh. The gator swiftly had his arms around me and pulled me into a crushing hug, my head pressed against his chest. His hugs always felt like being a grain in a stone mill. At least his hide was cool to the touch, as a pleasantry in this hot, humid air that was blowing in from the open window. Do you want to be Liam, Perp?
I suppose so. Let's see. Don't fret. Today's just like any other day, right? Oh, what are we doing here with this accent?
I think he is Creole as well.
Okay, I'll try my best.
Squeezing.
We're deep south, baby.
More adventures, right?
Liam was squeezing all the air from my lungs in this hug. He held on to me tighter than I'd like to admit. I could tell he wasn't ignoring what would happen at the end of the day, but trying his best to hide it. What's gonna happen?
I can't do the French. Facile, Liam. Ain't no adventure if he's flattened before it begins.
Liam kept his dumb grin of his as he dropped the hug. It took a good moment for me to catch my breath, but I was soon laughing. Even gave a playful punch to Liam's arm.
What the fuck?
None of us are ready for French.
Yet. Garth's got a special seafood boil going by the word of it. Heard it was for our movie premiere.
Man, he knows he ain't gotta say it. They're always special.
He does. Maybe I'll fill up for once.
We all busted a gut when Liam said he might sate his appetite. All the feelings of dread leaving with our laughter, at least for now.
Things packed?
Before I could even answer, he wandered the room and checked that I had nothing left behind that was important to us. Much as I could fit. Motioning over the 2 stuffed duffel bags and a backpack that was strapped shut with bungee cords. It would have to do. A firm knock drew all the warmth in the room away, my eyes fixated on the gilded knob. It slowly twisted, like my gut, before the door was pushed open. Time's up. Get out.
Mind your business, you old ass.
You idiots want me to call up the sheriff? Cody ain't welcome here no more. Liam glared at my father. That's what's going on. As he moved to stand between us, he glowered at my dad, years of pent-up anger growing on his face.
When has he ever been welcome in your house? You ain't never been a father to him, just whipping out the belt whenever he fucks up in your eyes.
Guys, you don't have to do this. Tobin proudly stepped up with Liam to defend me from my father.
All you see when you look at Cody is a bunch of accomplishments you claim as your own and a bunch of defeats you don't want the world to know about. You're a pathetic, power-hungry cockroach of a man.
Holy shit.
What is a man? How dare any of y'all talk back to me? Get the hell out of my house. He ain't worth it, guys. Let's just leave. Tobin grabbed the films, Liam the duffel bags. I grabbed the backpack as we pushed past my father. One last walk through the hallway, down the stairs, passing the memory as we walked through the front door. Ma was waiting outside, tearing up as we stepped out. I used to blame her, but as the day grew nearer, I realized that she was just as trapped as I was. None of this was truly her fault. I hope that one day she'll find the strength to break with tradition and not be scared. In my heart, I knew all she would have to do was call, and I'd be there for her. I love you, Cody. Please send letters to your TD. What? I don't know the terminology.
Yeah.
Send letters
sure.
to your TD. She pulled me into a hug, and I lowered a bit, allowing her to lay a gentle kiss on my cheek. She's short. She's so short. Of course, Ma. I love you too. Get away from him and come inside, Fiona. He's not our son anymore. She stepped away, and Liam started loading my bags into the back of his truck. Tobin, however, didn't seem finished. He knew this was his last chance to say something. The fox stood between me and the door, staring angrily at my father who watched on.
Not a single piece of my great friend Cody is because of how you raised him. Nothing of his achievements, happiness, his time on this earth.
Damn, Tobin had a speech practiced.
Yeah, all summer long. None of it belongs to you. It never has. You don't deserve to ever be called a father, you shitty excuse for a man of God. Your judgment day will come, and the scales will never be in your favor.
The rage in my father's eyes felt like the fires of hell on my fur. So great it was that when the door slammed, our porch light fell, shattering against the ground. Not gonna lie, I definitely see the fox part, but my first reaction to his fur pattern was that he was like a cat.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
He's got like the patterns. Tobin huffed angrily, turning away from the door, resting a paw on my back to push me away from the house. By the truck, I turned to face the old house. Far better memories floated up at the sight of it, thanks to my friends. Even Liam and Tobin stared at the old house, a look of mourning in their eyes. Sure, my pa had never been nice to me, but I used to like the house. All the years we spent hanging out in my room and the garden. But a veil had lifted. In my first genuine moment of freedom from parental obligation, I saw the house as the stagnant crypt it truly was.
We should head out, Cody.
Tobin's voice seemed to shake me from my mourning, and I felt as though weight was falling off my shoulders. I've been dreading this morning all summer, but with the door locked and the eyes of my father never to see me again, I felt happy.
Heck, Tobin, you told Miss Lauren off real good.
Me? Look at yourself, big marshmallow. You never talk back to anyone.
Tobin jumped onto Liam's back in a pathetic attempt to try and knock the gator to the ground. The sight of which drew a chuckle out of me, breaking me completely away from what little connection I had left to the house. Watching as they wrestled, I knew they were the ones that truly mattered to me.
Always knew you had a fighting spirit in there somewhere. Come on, let's get it out again.
The gator was laughing, harshly, stumbling a bit on his feet to balance himself as the struggling fox grappled around his neck.
Knock it off, brah. I ain't a fighter.
Bruh. Get him, Tobin. The scrappy little fox did all he could to make the gator succumb to the strength and fury of his pint-sized rage, but Liam wasn't having it, still laughing loudly as he fought to pry the fox off his back.
Sacre bleu, it's like trying to knock down a mountain.
Tobin let go with a loud, exhausted huff, straightening out his shirt once more, smiling at the still undefeated gator.
We got a bit before the boil. What you want to do?
Could go to City Park. One last stroll for old time's sake.
Onward.
Liam chuckled and climbed into the driver's seat of the truck, cranking down the window. I scrambled in, sitting in the middle, sandwiched between my best friends. We'd quickly gotten used to being squished forward, leaving room for the gator's large tail and my rudder, we're an otter, having to find room on the bench seat. If Tobin wasn't so short, it's funny how that's just like immediately understood by furries that the moment you say rudder, you're like, oh, it's an otter tail. That's all that can possibly mean. If Tobin wasn't so short, he might have been pushed right off the edge of the floor.
To adventure.
Liam's truck jerked to life, and off we went, for the last time driving away from my home. I felt so strange. I had thought I would have been more upset, but as we turned the first corner, heading for the park, all I felt was joy. Joy that I would not waste another day of my life under my father's rule. This was a chance to fully make my own way in the world. Actually be able to commit to my dreams, rather than those of my father.
City Park was our first movie, yeah?
Was that one called again?
Terror of the Mirror Bridge. I recited the title in my most menacing tone, hunching slightly to give my appearance a creepy factor. Foolish mortals, do you dare wake him? Tobin and Liam laughed softly, the fox playfully pushing against me to try to jar me out of my Oscar-worthy performance.
Bro, that one was so weird. I like to think we've made better films since then.
I don't think anything was better than watching you stumble around wrapped in a bunch of foil. I can still hear that ear-bleeding crunchy sound.
It was a pleasant memory, one that was fun to snicker at. What is the...
What are we saying here?
An unpleasant sound.
I think his costume was wrapped in tinfoil.
Oh, okay.
Just the thought of the small gator wrapped head to claw in a bunch of foil, waddling about a public park was so as to not shred the costume, so was easily enough to rile laughs. Liam looked like a walking TV dinner. Really? These are still chasing me. Rather than the demon our first film featured. This was only our first go at it, though, and we'd gotten way better at it. We kept the horror, naturally. Taking a deep breath, I bellowed to the heavens, unleashing as mighty a roar as an otter could possibly muster. I am the mirror monster, puny mortals. You have unleashed my reflective wrath. The outburst caused Liam to laugh so hard the truck jerked harshly as he accidentally pressed down on the clutch, while Tobin chittered with delight.
Nope, still weird, no matter how you spin it.
Besides, I said it better.
What can I say? You got a knack for it, Liam. I'm better off screen, finding the best way to showcase you both.
I like you better as the hero, Liam.
The comment caused the gator to swell with pride, glancing over at the fox. Splitting his shirt in half. Medium.
He's just saying that to be nice. It is hanging on by a thread.
Nah, he's right. Truly a shine in that role. Easy to see how much more you enjoy it. The large gator snorted, looking away, embarrassed by the sudden shower of compliments.
Cody is the best victim, though, no question about that.
Hey.
Yeah, he's got the best scream, and faints so cutely.
Well, yeah. Hush up. I couldn't help but laugh. The pair ganging up like that was always a treat in my eyes. We made it to City Park, a little after 11. The park was already a flurry of activity. Locals and tourists flocked here to enjoy the scenery. Large trees offered their shade, and a crisp wind blew through the park. A perfect day to relax with friends. The park had its charm, and I couldn't deny that it was an eye-catching location for our films. But once we started really to explore the city, we found places even most locals didn't know about. Forgotten hideaways where time stood still, each imbued with an ethereal atmosphere, breathed unique life into our films. The back rooms. We wandered along one of the willow-lined paths until we came to what had been the starring set piece of our first movie. Without hesitation, I jumped onto the stone railing, not paying much mind to the tourists around. Beware, foolish mortals, for I am free and will feast upon your souls. Gaze into my reflections and be lost forevermore. Fox, look upon me, and I will reflect your worstest fear. The sudden lunge into reenacting our first film caught my friends off guard.
What fears would that be? Running out of honey?
Tobin was quick to take on his character, moving behind Liam in a staged act of cowardice.
Oh no, not my soul. Please don't.
Hey, being short on nectar is no joke. Beignets just ain't right without honey.
Liam swiftly snacked into character, taking on the heroic role that I once filled.
Stand back, brah. For only I know how to defeat the mirror monster.
He says it all the time. Liam extended an open hand to the air, pretending to hold a mirror in it, while Tobin stayed hidden behind the gator.
Gaze upon your own foul demon.
No, my one and only weakness, the infinite reflection. Twirling on the railing, I coughed and squeezed, acting up a storm in my death scene. Looking back on it, though, Liam really had done a better job of it in the movie. For my grand finale, I flopped on my back, splayed out on the stone, halfway over the water. Ugh. I'm dead. Try as I might to play dead, Liam and Tobin's laughter caused me to break character. My own laughter joined theirs as I opened my eyes to the vibrant sky reflected in the creek. They soon joined me on the bridge.
That script really was terrible.
Well, yeah, what kind of doofus thinks a mirror can defeat an evil mirror?
Liam spoke in a way that meant he was egging me on. He gave me a sly look, grinning. Hey now, what would you come up with that's so much better? Tobin soon mimicked Liam's grin before they spoke in unison.
A rock.
Perfect. I began to cough and wheeze once more under a unified attack. Laying so far off the railing I was hanging upside down, my thick tail keeping me from falling into the creek. I'm dead. Again. The gator laughed so loud it caught looks from a few passers-by, and Tobin released a happy sigh, watching me dangle so precariously.
You guys want some snowballs? My treat.
Like hostess? Doop-a-doop. Yeah, I could go for one. A little... a little lag nap. Lag nap.
Lagniapa?
Before
I have no
the
idea what that
boil.
is.
I don't know. We're disappointing so many people right now.
Google Images is actually not helping me with this one.
For a few
It is
seconds...
Louisiana.
Yeah, I don't know. For a few seconds longer, I left myself hang upside down, staring at the shimmering, rippling creek water, before slipping out of the moment, hurrying to catch up to the pair halfway to a cart vendor already. We ordered 3 snow cones. Oh, that's what they meant. I thought they meant like the coconut brownies. Pineapple for Liam, root beer for Tobin, and cherry for myself. Finding a nice shaded path under a willow tree, we plopped down on the ground.
Nothing beats a snowball on a day like this.
Guess this will be the last one, though. My whole body felt heavy as soon as the words slipped out. I've been trying to keep those thoughts at bay, though it seemed the happier I got, the easier things broke through. That feeling of dread I've been fighting off all week, creeping back in. I knew it showed in my face as well. The drooping whiskers, a vacant stare at the sweet, cold treat held in my paw.
What? They don't have these in Montana?
Bruh, he means the last one with the 3 of us together.
I know what he meant.
The fox snapped aggressively at Liam. He never did handle sadness well, and tried to deflect it with angry responses. Forget it. Forget it, Don Matta. Oh. Forget it. Don't matter. It's my pa's fault anyway. It's being written out all phonetically, but it's just doesn't matter.
Yeah. Back in Lackadaisy. Bruh, it's not too late. If you want me, we could Probably still apply. Yeah, I'm also tripping over this.
Yeah. Heck no, Liam. You and Tobin ain't gonna let them scholarships go to waste. It's not like it'll be forever. Just gotta sort out my life. Figure out a path. And I can transfer in a couple years, yeah?
I guess. Still feels weird. I know we've had all summer to get ready for it. Just feels like it's over too fast. Your dad is a fool.
He's not my pa anymore. You heard him. Better this way. I reassured Liam, glancing over at him with a smile, watching the large gator enjoy his sweet treat.
You staring for her.
Thanks for snapping at him. And you too, Tobin.
He had it coming.
As we sat there, enjoying the chilly, sweet snow cones, everything slowly felt good again. Just 3 friends, enjoying our last day together. Let's take a picture together. I pulled my faithful camera from my fanny pack, carefully setting it up on a nearby picnic table to have us all in a frame. With the wind with the wind of a dial, the timer ticked off the seconds. Liam and Tobin moved in closer, slightly sandwiching me in the middle.
Oh,
Extremely goofy picture.
CG.
that fanny pack though.
Yeah. That's how you know we're in the 80s.
It's aggressive. His whole getup is pretty aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
You also know it's the 80s because he's wearing an ET shirt.
That was the first thing. Yeah, when I joined the stream, I was like, okay, got it.
Yep, right away there's an ET shirt. There's so many colors on this guy. Now, whatever you do, Otter, don't go off to college and meet a wolf.
Worth it.
You two think you're so clever.
Because we are.
Come on, the boil will probably start soon. We made our way out of the park. Once more cramming into Liam's truck, heading off towards a proper Nowlands seafood boil.
Nolan.
I was gonna say a boil's like a lobster boil, right? I think I know about that part.
Yeah, it's just like a big, it's like a cookout.
Yeah. It wasn't a long drive to the boil, and I was rather happily singing along with Tobin to a song on the radio, occasionally prodding Liam with an elbow to try and get him to join in, though he never did. The gator parked his truck along the sidewalk in front of a hedge-fenced courtyard, and as soon as we climbed out of the truck, the overwhelmingly delicious scent was all around us. The hunger-inducing aromas of a bountiful boil, with its distinctive spices, citrus, well-cooked vegetables, and seafood. Already we could hear the joyful chatter of neighbors gathering together to share the feast. Oh man, looks like we made it just in time. Pushing open a large wooden gate, we slipped into the true New Orleans oasis. A wonderful, lush courtyard garden, shaded with wisteria flowers, dangling from a trellis overhead that spanned the entire courtyard. The garden was full of picnic tables, and there was hardly an empty seat around. The place packed with fellow neighbors, a few of my classmates, and even some of my old teachers. At the far end, a row of large stock pots were boiling away, nearing completion. I was so busy waving to some of my neighbors that I didn't notice someone sneaking up on me. Suddenly, a massive black bear scooped me off the ground. With so little effort, it made me look like a feather adrift in the wind, held tightly in the creature's arms.
Oh, let's see him.
Garth.
Unfortunately, he has no sprite.
There's no bear sprite.
No.
Would have loved to.
Can't overinvest in the
Specifically
sprites for the people we're never gonna see again, presumably.
This is true.
Bonjour, Cody. Ça va, Garth? Ça va bien. I'm so sorry to everyone. The large Ursine laughed so loudly that the three of us could feel the deep rumbling in our chests. Garth held his grip on me. Tobin and Liam knew it was a pointless effort to interrupt the hug. I got a real special boil for you today, Cher. Take a look-see. As if I was incapable of turning my head, Garth hoisted me around, once more letting me take in the wonderful sights of the boil in the making. Wow, really seems like everyone's here. I never considered myself popular, far from it, but I had to admit it was really nice seeing so many people I knew, one way or the other, gathering for one last boil. Oh, is this for him specifically? Is that what they...
Yeah, I'm not sure.
They're talking about him not being popular or not. I'm like, if they're for him specifically, then like, that dad's on everyone's shit list.
Exactly.
If all these neighbors are here for his going away party, you're like, Garth was beaming with pride, clearly happy he'd managed his largest turnout yet. Much as I tried to fly under the radar, people seemed to see me differently. In my heart, I knew why. I wish I could avoid attention. It was a truth that would make almost everyone attending the feast hate me without question.
This was what I was wondering.
What did I tell you, Chef?
Shush. How could I not?
Yeah, let the good times roll.
Exactly. Garth, put me down, please. I got some envy for some crawdads that only your cooking can fix. My tummy's got the rumblings that only hands can satisfy. The enormous bell laughed and finally set me down, motioning with a paw for the three of us to follow. Y'all just in time. Come up front with me. Three of us followed Garth to the head table, which felt a little out of place as we preferred to stick to the flanks, but I appreciated the gesture of the Ursine, who was really trying to make the event extra special. We grabbed a seat at the table with some of my neighbors and schoolmates, while almost everyone else took a seat after the bear whistled loudly. It might not be his going away party, it might just be the last boil because the summer's ending, and it's like a seasonal thing.
I was kind of assuming that, like, they all know that he's going off to college, and so it's just like this one guy's like, oh, this is your last one before you're heading off.
Yeah, but also going off to college from high school is such a shared community thing, too.
Yeah.
As volunteers
Especially in
began...
the South.
Oh, yeah. As volunteers began to lay out the feast, spreading massive hulls of corn, potatoes, crawfish, crab, andouille sausages, and more on every table. Liam's mouth was drooling at the sight of it all. Tobin took a shell cracker and paw, and I had my eyes fixated on the delicious-looking spread. The smell of it was even better. Nothing in my mind could top the pure, unique personality that came from a Boyle's secret spice blend, and Garth's was the best of them all. Gather round, y'all. Gather round. Now, I knows y'all dying to dig in, but first things first. Cody, would you do the honors? The question left a lump in my throat. Public speaking was never my forte. Being in front of a camera gave me the distance I preferred. Regardless, I obliged the kindly bear and stood up from the table, walking over next to him. Everyone in the courtyard took hold of a neighbor's paw and bowed their heads. Bless us, spirits, and these crawfish that we are about to enjoy. Bless those who caught them, those who prepared them, and give crawfish to those who have none. We thank you for this wonderful world, and for all that you have put in it. And we give special thanks for having brought the Cajuns and the crawfish to the same place. Amen. The collective crowd recited the Amen with me, and I smiled, glad I'd managed to pull it off without a hitch. Merci, Cody. Absolutely beautiful. You heard him. Bon appetit. Garth took a seat with me at the table. Liam was already diving into a pile of crawfish, and Tobin was cracking open a crab leg, while Garth and I tucked into the feast as well. At least for a little while. The chatter among the crowds was minimal, everyone just digging in, and enjoying the masterfully crafted meal. How's your ma at him? Ma's upset. Pa's, well, guess he's not my pa anymore. Garth narrowed his gaze at my response, easily picking up on the resentment and anger I was still harboring over my father's methods, feeling that we were strengthened by the uncertain future facing me. After all, things really fell apart when I started looking for colleges. My pa refused to pay for any college that wasn't Catholic, which sent me scrambling.
Let's not talk about him.
Bro, this be worse than finding out someone put a curse on you. I can hardly reckon the day is truly here.
As if Liam had been sitting with bated breath, waiting for his moment, he couldn't help bringing up the subject again. Not the end of the world, just a couple of years, eh?
Enough.
He's right. Don't even think about it. It's just another day in Nolans. As we continued to eat, we were occasionally interrupted by neighbors and classmates popping over to chat, with quite a lot of compliments being heaped on Garth for the meal. So, you ready for the premiere? Liam told me it's not all bloody. I like the thought of that. Just have to set up. Feel all tingly though. Never had this many watch one before. Looking around, taking in the company once more, there were easily 50-some people partaking in the farewell gathering. I'd never shown my films outside club at school. The thought made me nervous. What would people think?
It's not just the blood that's different. Cody was acting so different for this one. We found this old steamboat wreck in the bayou. He just acted so odd every time we were on it.
Nonsense. I was just figuring out good angles and framing.
Nah, Tobin's right. It's like you're always somewhere else.
Maybe he was. Bayous are awash with strange energy. So many stories about them. There aren't enough days in a year to talk about them all. I was just impressed, alright? Finding an old wreck like that and untouched. It was a goldmine for us. The conversation had strangely put me on edge. It was just an old ship, that's all. We continued to dine, chat, and feast until we were all well full. I knew it was time, though. Everyone had slowly drifted back into casual conversation. Merci, chef. It was a masterpiece, truly. Just give me a couple minutes to set up.
Oui, it was divine.
Couldn't have possibly eaten another bite, brah.
Coming from Liam, this was one of the greatest compliments Garth had ever received, causing the bear to chuckle softly. I left the courtyard for only a moment to gather the equipment I needed for the premiere. Taking my time, setting up the film projector and screen in the most shaded corner of the courtyard. Tobin wandered over, watching as I spooled the film.
Excited?
Something like that. Who would have thunk I'd be getting the jitters?
I tried telling Garth, not so many people. I guess word got out, though.
Yeah, even Mr. Jenkins is here. Thought he hated us. Tobin glanced off to an older husky who was chatting up one of his female co-workers. He'd been our third-grade teacher and always seemed to target us the hardest.
Well, Liam spilled coffee on him. Then there was the stink bomb.
How was I supposed to know it could do that? You saw that effects book. We had to try. Liam pulled himself away from the crowd, joining Tobin as I continued to set things up.
Talking about Jenkins?
Yeah. Don't know why he's here. Liam playfully punched me in the arm, eliciting a startled squeak, stumbling enough that I nearly knocked over the projector. What was that for?
You both forget? It was the stink bomb. Can't believe you forgot.
What about it?
He had a reaction or something. Went to the hospital, right?
Yeah, don't remind me. Swear my pa went and bought a new belt just because of that.
Well, where do you think Jenkins met his missus?
Shut up. He did not. You serious?
I cannot believe you both forgot. I was a nurse at the hospital. Jenkins started being all nice after that.
Heck, how'd I forget about that?
And here I am thinking he still smells like rotten eggs. Dang.
Tobin, can you go set up the reel-to-reel? Almost ready here. The fox gave me a nod, grabbing the audio spools, wandering off to get the rest of the setup done so we could get the movie going.
You ready for this, brah?
Can't believe they're filming on film. Like, it's just such a... What an ordeal.
I'm trying to, like, kind of suss out what the, like, indie film scene would be like in the 80s, because I'm thinking of, like, John Waters. I don't even know if that was the 80s.
It's wild. No, but fixing to do it anyway. Once everything was set up, Garth herded the three of us in front of the screen, gathering everyone's attention. Standing there, with all the faces staring, left me shaking. Tobin gently nudged against me after a few seconds.
Well, go on, get it over with.
Shuffling in place a little, I took a deep breath, attempting to steady my nerves, still wishing I was behind a camera, rather than in front of an expectant crowd. Howdy, y'all. Really appreciate so many of you coming to this boiling premiere. The more I spoke, the more my nerves seemed to melt away, speaking with a little more confidence with each passing second. Before we get things started, how about a round of applause for Chef Garth and his team making such a splendid feast? The crowd applauded the bear, who stood proudly off to the side, looking hot in the face. When the applause died down, I hurried to get on with it. We got a real special picture for you, I like to think. Tobin, Liam, and I are happy to present Creole Queen's Widower Voyage. Flipping a switch on the projector, I hurried over to the speaker system and started the audio when a red card appeared. We're gonna act out the scene, aren't we? Liam and Tobin took seats near the front, while I stayed in the back, watching the crowd settle in for the most recent film. This was the first time we'd ever had so many spectators for one of our movies. My eyes were darting back and forth between the crowd and the screen. I chuckled at the sight of Tobin in his white prom tuxedo, peering out from the deck of his old riverboat. A vixen wandered in from off frame, starting to chat up Tobin before the pair started a rather sultry dance. This was our biggest production to date. After the film club found out I was moving away, we all gathered together for one last hurrah. As the minutes rolled on, the overall lack of response from the crowd was making me nervous. No one had taken their eyes off the film. So that left me to wonder whether they were fixated because it was a train wreck or if they were actually enjoying it. I know how I felt, continuing to see all these small mistakes that I'm sure I was the only one that I could see, though they still bothered me as I strove for perfection. But then it happened. There was a mostly unanimous gasp of shock when the first unsettling element took place. The vixen was shoved by a mysterious figure from the bow of the ship, a look of terror in her eyes as she fell towards green flames rising from the quagmire. As the movie neared its end, the tension in the crowd was palpable. It made the fur on my neck stand on end, watching with deep interest as the finale began. Fog rolled in around Liam, who stood menacingly on the dock by his ship, dressed in a bloodied captain's outfit, shimmering orbs of light behind him lighting the decks of the decrepit boat. Tobin stood in shambles, his eyes looking heavy with an eternity of guilt and sadness.
I can bear this pain no longer. Please, let me see my Esmeralda again. I've done all that you've asked of me. Forever will I live with these sins I've committed at your behest. Honor our bargain and return my Esmeralda.
If it is your wish.
Liam faded into the fog, and the scene became sunlit. The vixen stood in her shimmering dress at the top of the ramp, a hand outstretched to Tobin, once more dressed in his finest suit. Romantic music swelled as he walked up the ramp, pulling Esmeralda into a tight embrace. The glow of sunlight narrowed on them like a spotlight, and they danced.
It's over, my sweet honeysuckle. We are together again at last.
A blinding flash of light, and Tobin stood frozen in the dance, a knife plunged into his back, the vixen holding the handle of the blade. The ghostly orbs returned once more, gathered around the deadly scene. Liam loomed tall in the background with a red glow to his eyes, a sickly, approving grin on his face. Now and forever, my love. Tobin's dying gargle was captivating, jerking and twitching in her arms as life left his body. After a solid 40 minutes, it was all over. The film ended, and there wasn't even a second of hesitation. The whole courtyard was applauding, some even standing up. The sight of it made my eyes water immediately, completely stunned by the reaction. Tobin and Liam were being mobbed with praise, pats on the back, and handshakes. I wasn't allowed to escape the attention, as Garth had once again snuck up on me, sweeping me off my feet into another firm hug. That was magnificent, Cher. I didn't even try to struggle as Garth kept me pinned in the hug, walking me back up to the front and center to it all. Liam looked flustered, and Tobin looked as if he was standing a few inches taller, just trying to keep up with all the congratulations. I spent a good 10 minutes receiving compliments, and wasn't allowed to budge away, as Garth kept a firm paw on my shoulder, trying to comfort me in the moment that was overwhelming both with joy and anxiety. Soon enough the crowd began to part, leaving just the four of us and a few stragglers, still shaking with excitement as I packed up the equipment. Watching Tobin and Liam bounce about, the fox grappled once more around Liam's neck.
You're a star, Liam.
Heck now, bruh. You's the one that made it special. I'm just a klutz.
Tobin gently kicked Liam in the leg, with one of his dangling footpaws, barking with annoyance.
What'd I tell you about selling yourself short? Enough of that. You were fantastic.
It only took a moment of my back being turned before Liam had come over, pulling me once more into his boa's grip. Tobin still grappling around the gator's throat. Liam was laughing with delight, and I was as well, in between gasping breaths. Okay, ease up. No, harder. Just squeeze until something pops. No longer had Liam let me go, and I was once more swept off the ground by Garth. I was beginning to feel like a sack of potatoes being passed back and forth by several very large men. There's something I have to show you, Troys, before I let you go underway. Come along. Liam and Tobin followed close behind as Garth carried me and led us to the brick wall that separated the courtyard from the restaurant interior. A large tarp was covering whatever he wanted to show us. The bear set me down and moved me over to the wall, grasping the tarp, smiling warmly at the three of us. You boys know you'll always be special to me. If not for y'all working so hard for a year, just out of kindness, this restaurant wouldn't still be here. It was only 2 years back when the gas crisis was still making everyone hurt. Garth's restaurant was our favorite, and he'd clearly been struggling to keep going. The work was tough, but we spent a year volunteering our time to fill out the jobs that he had to cut to stay afloat. The four of us had bonded tightly in that time, an unbreakable friendship. Reckon it's about time you got a little recognition. Garth pulled the tarp down from the wall, revealing a large framed photograph. It was the four of us gathered in the kitchen, some of us covered in flour, joy on our faces. I remember that morning well. The bear teaching us how to make his favorite Gruyere biscuits. Liam had been kneading the dough so aggressively at one point it left a small dent in the prep table. That's not good. Chef, you're gonna make me cry if you ain't careful. This is beautiful.
Now, where are we supposed to eat? Everyone will be pining all over us.
The fox spoke in a joking manner, which got a laugh out of Liam, the gator gently butting up against the fox.
Shusha, if that movie is anything to go on, we'll have to get used to some attention one day.
Garth took out 3 envelopes and handed them to each of us, a copy of the photo for us to keep. I held it close to my chest for a moment, sighing peacefully. Thank you, Garth.
Oui, merci.
We'll do it again if you ever need us to.
A hell of a promise to make. Yeah, I'll lose a year in the future again. Why not?
Liam is the one in the friend group who would do that.
No, the TJ.
Yep.
No, not the TJ.
Sure, we'll clear your backyard. We got nothing else to do on this trip. Thank you, boys. From the bottom of my heart. You have family in my eyes, and will always be part of this place. Garth yanked me off the floor with one last hug, crushing me into his figure, chuckling with delight. The laughter was a little cracked, trying to hold back the sadness that lingered in the moment. Don't be a stranger now. Drop me a letter when you can. Of course I will. So long as you promise to keep those 2 fed. Always, Cher. I'll leave a seat at the table for you. Garth patted Tobin and Liam on the back before wandering off to go about cleaning up with his team. He stayed a minute longer to admire the photo on the wall, but soon walked out to Liam's truck. We left the boil with our stomachs near to bursting, and immense joy in our hearts from how well the film had been received. Bouncing along in the truck through the heart of New Orleans, making our way to a lesser-known park in the city. Given that additional context, now I'm wondering, like, did his dad really disown him for not going to a Catholic school as opposed to, like, being presumably gay?
I mean, he had that line saying, like, if everyone knew this one thing, that they would all hate me, so I assume it's that he was gay.
Yeah, I'm not sure, or if that was or it was just the fact that he doesn't want to be around people. It's like just ambiguous enough about which specific thing they might be mad at. Maybe the entire town would come after him for going to a non-religious school. Grand betrayal.
I was really curious because Garth, he seemed to like kind of have a special connection with there, and it seemed like Garth knew something.
Yeah, I wonder what's up there. Of course, they're all really close.
Right.
So close that they're all in a picture together. I promise. Don't know what it looks like because don't know what Garth looks like, but you know. Yeah.
Beautiful.
That's funny. That's just the one. That just becomes an audience prompt for people to draw whenever you do stuff like that. The park ran along the outskirts of the bayou and had planked trails meandering through some of the swampy marsh. The entire park had a different feel to it, one that I found more relaxing and attractive.
Man, that was the best one ever. You really pulled out all the stops.
We wandered along one of the dirt trails, attempting to avoid the food coma the feast wanted to put us into, perfectly content in the muggy afternoon. Look, I know y'all said not to, but I couldn't help myself. Got you some going-away presents. Liam looked on the verge of tears before I'd even gotten half of what I set out. Tears that, no matter how hard we fought off, going to happen. As I fished around in my fanny pack, Tobin moved a few steps away, staring off into the bayou. Even he was finally struggling to get back his emotions, still hoping this was all some bad dream he would wake up from, any moment now. Slipping out 2 gifts wrapped in newspaper, I handed them off to my friends with a soft smile, watching Tobin turn his over and over in his paw. The gator was hesitant at first, but accepted the gift. Though it looked small in his hands, I had no doubt it felt heavy with an emotional weight. As Liam fought back tears, his hands shaking as he fumbled with the paper, a distinct, all too familiar, musty smell was wafting upwards at him. It told him what was waiting inside, without even seeing it. What he finally pulled out was a large folded map. The sight of the map unleashed Liam's floodgates, tears streaming down his rough face. He'd always been the softest one. Not that he ever minded. However, the outburst caught the immense ire of Tobin.
Get a hold of yourself. It's just a damn map.
Of course, Tobin knew it wasn't just any old map. It was one of my prides and joys, the past 10 years of our adventures together, all contained and plotted out on sacred parchment. Every shortcut, filming location, vantage point, and secret hangout spot. It had been years in the making and served as a timeline of most of our friendship. Liam continued to sob, his hands shaking as he held onto the map. Tobin huffed and began to unwrap his gift. In his paws, he was now holding a small, soft, rolled leather case, and Tobin recognized it immediately. It was my set of lockpicks. The map and the lockpicks together had unlocked so many adventures, so many secrets, and so much joy. It was finally enough that even his tough temperament couldn't hold back tears. Struggling to hold myself together, I pulled the pair of them into a hug, with a few tears rolling down my maw. Don't stop exploring just because I'm gone. I fully expect y'all to have some new things to show me when I can visit. Tobin remained quiet, a few tears still rolling through the short fur of his muzzle, squeezing the leather case in his paws, while Liam was fruitlessly trying to dry his face with his shirt.
We have something for you, too.
The fox reached into his pocket, pulling out a tiny, wrapped gift and a sealed envelope, offering it up to me, which I gratefully accepted.
The envelope is from Ma and I.
The gator spoke in a choking voice, trying as hard as he could to get a hold of himself, not wanting to sully our last hour together. Though his eyes still shimmered with sadness. With a claw, I slit the envelope open and pulled out a recipe card for honey beignets. Oh, man. Is this your ma's recipe? Not even Dumont's could beat your ma's. My excitement over the recipe got a smile out of the gator, nodding his head.
Yeah, got her to give up the secret just for you.
Excitedly, I went about unwrapping the small gift next, quick to pull out a cassette tape. A piece of white tape was stuck on it with the words Cajun Summer written in marker, The clear plastic seemed to shimmer in the sunlight.
Thought maybe you would enjoy a little taste of home when you get settled in.
This is perfect. More than I could have hoped for. Both of my friends were smiling over the joyful look on my face. They'd always known I preferred simple gifts.
Come on, let's grab some shade.
The three of us took into laying on the grass, under a large willow tree, my eyes watching the wispy leaves dance in the gentle evening breeze.
Still cannot believe it. Want it to not be true. Summer really over? It's not fair, damn it.
Tobin and I glanced over to the gator, for the second time that day, seeing the rare sight of Liam ever showing a hint of anger, let alone be vocal about it. It's my fault. I waited too long to apply for scholarships and such, because I put too much hope in believing my pa would change his mind. At least I'm finally done with them. Can do my own thing, not be some dang walking trophy case.
Well, at least one good thing came out of the way he treats you. You stayed in the same grade as us, instead of skipping.
Yeah, is one good deed. Hassled him enough to let me stay where I was. School sure as heck didn't care how I felt about it. Taking a deep breath, puffing out my chest before imitating the voice of my father. You'll never get anywhere in life taking shortcuts, Cody. Have to take the long way. Heck, what does he know about getting somewhere in life? Not a damn thing if you ask me.
Just forget it. Ain't nothing we can do about it now. It's not all bad, though. Maybe we could come for a visit during winter break.
Yeah, brah, that would be a blast. Can show us the new art stuff you learn. Oh, he's an art boy?
A soft beeping broke through the conversation, the alarm on my watch letting us know the Reaper had come at last. The simple beeping put a painful weight on my chest, planting me to the ground. Reluctantly, we all stood up, quietly making our way back to Liam's truck. I smiled softly as I squished in the middle once more. The pressure of the two against me in that moment made me realize I was going to miss the small things the most. After all these years, I could hardly take a day in my life where we weren't doing something together. Knowing this would be the last moment for a while where we'd all be still enjoying each other's company was almost unbearable. The final truck ride together was a grueling experience. Every green light, every mile further was painful. None of us could even muster the emotional strength to talk as Liam pushed on. Until we parked in the lot of the bus station, a depressing sight cast in the glow of dusk light. I let out a heavy sigh, climbing out of the truck. This is really it, I guess. Tobin huffed, looking at the pool of buses idling away, watching crowds of people mill about. Liam was shaking something fierce, helping to pull my bags out of the truck.
For now, sometimes we just got to go where the current takes us, brah. I love it.
You sure about this, Cody? Mom might let you stay at our place.
I can't impose like that. Besides, can't give up on this dream. I want to see our names in lights someday. We'll get back together for winter break. An announcement came over the speaker, letting me know that my bus was ready for passengers to load on. Liam pulled the three of us into one final spine-pulverizing hug. The gator was crying so hard I could feel tears dripping off his face and between my ears. Tobin was sniffling and holding almost as tight as Liam. Love you guys. I'll get you my number as soon as I've got a phone. Right, 'cause they don't have cell phones.
Safe travels, Cody. Adieu for now.
I'll convince my ma to send you more recipes, okay, brah? You show them all. You show all them up there what proper food is.
Course I will. After one last hug, I took my bags and climbed onto the bus, finding a window seat, looking out at my friends who were waving. They stayed for the last few minutes until the bus started rolling away. And there we go. Goodbye, friends. They're dead to us now. Jericho here is passing out, so I think we're going to be parting ways here. But if you want to support Jericho, you can go check out the visual novel Remember the Flowers. What? And also, what's your Twitch?
I think it's Jericho Woe _
There you go. He streams.
I do.
But it's also like 10:30 for him.
Yeah.
He's slowly going away. Well, thanks for coming by.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm going to head off for now, but I hope you enjoy the rest of what you do, and I want to hear your thoughts about it when I wake up tomorrow.
I'll see you later.
Yep, have a good night, y'all. Bye.
There you go. Oh, our heads got real big on the left. I'm just gonna drag those over a little bit. There we go. You good to keep going?
I am so into this. This is really, I don't know, can we take like a couple minutes to kind of like give impressions or something, or?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like, cause just, I don't know, like when it comes to like pacing in a lot of the ends, like I'm always like a little shaken. Like this is one thing I can remember like really taking note of with a lot of like Echo Project stuff is kind of how much time they spend like doing visual descriptions versus like kind of moving through the scene. And that was like for me like a like S rank, like we know this is a setting that you, the viewer, are not really familiar with, so we're going to spend just enough time describing like the food, the sights, the sounds of Louisiana, but also like kind of move the shit along and not spend every single second describing the room we're in or something.
Oh yeah. The scenes have been relatively short, which is usually a good sign because we have done multiple Let's Tries of Visuals novels now where we play for about like 90 to 120 minutes. And we have not left the room that the visual novel started in by the end of the video, and that is quite the commitment. Admittedly, like they vary. Like there are 2 of them where you wake up in a bed, wounded, being taken care of by a wolf.
This is true. Yes,
we've played 2 of those, but you do still spend so much time in the one room that like you often haven't like gotten anywhere. Whereas there's definitely other ones where the pacing picks up and the game's kind of just doing more. Like I think about like 922 sets up a mystery pretty quickly, and you go through several different locations, and it's like kind of a strange little story, but it knows to kind of keep going. And then on the other hand, I've played I forget the exact name of it now, but there's a visual novel where you play as like there's like a wolf that's like some kind of like gatherer that goes into like exclusion zones to get relics and stuff. And in that one, we literally did not leave the tent that you wake up in, which is
that was I watched that one that you did.
And so I definitely got some mixed vibe. Like it's something that I think about a lot. Is like how do you pace out the story in the beginning of a thing and figure out how to like build tension and mystery. And it's something I spent a lot of time breaking down in my Ad Astra video essay, was just discussing like, okay, so this is interestingly, this is a story where you do get trapped in one location with the wolf for like the first hour or 2 of the story, but it sets up several things about what's happening in that narrative, but it does so by first making them all mysteries and then paying them off in that kind of way. And that's like a really interesting way of like very consciously think about how you're going to structure your story to build intrigue and gain audience interest while also giving the information that you need to give and also like moving on when you need to move on. And given how many visual novels are somebody's first attempt at writing something of this scale, that's a huge stumbling block.
Yeah, I can't really, like, I'm not a writer myself. I can't imagine how to actually set that out there.
Yeah. Like even in the case of Remember the Flowers, which I think has a pretty strong opening, I think the scene in the alleyway could be like half as long as it is.
Exactly.
For just how long you spend there at the beginning. I'm like, I think they might have spun their wheels in the mud a little too long in that specific moment where it kind of like kills the pacing. And that's just like a universal thing of like, you kind of just have to go back and reread it and just try to gauge whether or not the scenes are earning their length to some extent.
Yeah, like I don't know if that's always like, is it a thing of just like kind of very aggressively axing what you've already written? If it's like, we can go without that, we can go without that, we can go with that, or is it like, I don't know, yeah, like how much stuff is like setting personality or just kind of atmosphere in an effective way versus like giving you hard progress on the plot.
I think it's relatively rare for anyone in this entire genre to have like training. Like
this is true.
Like I think the artists are more likely to have I was gonna say educational background, that's not right, an academic background, but I think it's much less common for the writers of furry visual novels to have an academic background in that field. So they're kind of winging it based on some level of past also winging it. And you can see how well they've learned from that, but it's led to the Let's Tries being this entertaining grab bag of just wildly divergent approaches to how to even start a story.
Like, no, Keith, you can't just play 2 episodes, you have to play 10 episodes. It gets good around part 15.
Oh god. Yeah, that's the usual, that is the common response to these. You didn't even get to the good part yet. I'm like, yeah, I know, visual novels are books which are long, so we do it for a bit and then it's up to you to check the rest out. That's the point. Go download Dawn Tide and whatnot. It's there. Chapter 2's coming out. But I'm not doing a Let's Play of Dawn Tide, so at least not yet. So, you know, there's your chance to know that Chapter 2's happening, guys. I did a Let's Try of it like a year ago. So off I go, on a journey into the terrifying unknown, far from the city that I'd lived in my entire life. Oop, I clicked out of the window or something, didn't I? Yep. Heading to a college in the town that might as well have been on the other side of the world in my eyes. Even as the miles wore on, that feeling of doubt lingered heavy in my heart, wondering if I should try and go back. Live on the streets if I had to. At least then I'd still be with my friends. Though as miserable as I felt, I couldn't deny there was a tiny spark of excitement. Each bus transfer on the journey was another reminder that I was on my own, making my own decisions, and no longer afraid of my paw. The week-long trip had been a blur through the swamps of Louisiana, past the boundless plains of Texas and New Mexico, wound through the majestic mountains of Colorado, and long stretches of complete isolation in Wyoming. You were on a different planet now.
Yeah.
Until at last I was on my final bus, sipping into Montana. Wait.
Is Montana mountainous?
I'm trying to parse the route. I don't exactly have the United States map memorized, but I'm like,
yeah.
You went from Louisiana to Colorado to Montana? Like Louisiana to Texas to Colorado, which is neighboring my state, to Montana. I'm like, hang on a minute.
I mean, I had friends who like did a cross-country road trip earlier in the year, and it was really wacky. I mean, again, like I guess sometimes you do sightseeing during road trips, but it was a very like you did not take a straight line to get there. You took some weird jank-ass like zigzag.
And admittedly, they're just like in the middle of our country. It's real empty. I got a real good look at that when I flew to MFF, and there's just nothing for most of the trip when you're flying. So more direct routes might just not exist half the time. You might have to take really strange paths if you want to be on freeways, and also deal with and they're beholden to bus routes which require there to be a population traveling in that direction.
Exactly. Yeah, they kind of need to connect the dots.
Yeah, but that seems convoluted. I'd have to look at it. Till at last I was on my final bus, slipping into Montana. Fragrant pine trees were plentiful, and quivering leaves of aspen trees were beginning to show small shades of vibrant color. It was the first time on the journey I truly felt happy. The beauty of the area was so vastly different from my own. It filled me with flashes of inspiration for new films. The drive into Aspen Hollow only furthered these fresh ideas. I took in every detail of a small town that had grown out of the Wild West days. Every home was distinct and worn down, surrounded on all sides by mountains. As the bus rolled through town and towards the heart of it, the newer buildings and homes were changing out for older edifications. Ancient structures from the days of gold rush pioneers, moonshiners, and Depression-era relics. Little more than their interiors were modified for new shops, new owners. Some still had faint lettering left in their original places. It wasn't until we passed through a heart of Aspen Hollow that a realization struck me. It felt like there was a distinct sadness behind the town. Just about everything there looked like they'd passed from generation to generation. Buildings that were little more than a ball and chain, keeping the hopeful from doing something more with their lives. When the bus finally came to a stop, I was the only one to get off, lugging my 2 duffel bags and backpack off and out into the open air, immediately bathed in the fragrant scent of towering pine trees. Fumbling around in my pocket, I pulled out a small list of directions telling me how to get from the bus stop to the motel I'd be staying. At a motel? I don't have dorms, I guess. Thankfully, it wasn't too long of a walk, though my arms were still screaming at me by the time I got to the roadside motel. Gently pushing my way into the little office, giving a tap on the bell. I wonder how they're gonna, like, afford this place or something.
I'm wondering if this is just temporary or what.
Yeah. Maybe it's maybe it's just the motel to bridge the gap until the semester starts or something. So there's like just logistic faff.
That's what I would guess. 'Cause is that like, I don't know what this date that he's been dreading like is exactly like what is the cutoff there? Is that right before you start class or just until you move?
Yeah. Yeah. Just a moment. Be right with you. A rather kind badger soon stepped out from the back and squared away my reservation. You need anything? Don't hesitate to ask. Thank you. Just happy to have a place to stay. Before I knew it, I was alone in complete privacy for the first time in a week. Just letting my bags drop onto the floor, I collapsed onto the bed, which creaked loudly, letting myself sink into the softness. I wonder if the whole road trip was a series of motels itself, or was it a sleep on a bus situation? I don't know, actually. I've never tried to do this.
I think those do typically like go through the night. I've definitely heard of people sleeping on bus trips.
After
Doesn't
melting,
sound comfortable.
No, the poor driver. After melting into the bed for what seemed like a solid couple hours, I found the strength to catch a shower. Glad to wash the stink of a long journey from my body. Just a week of bus musk. As the water cascaded over me, I did my best not to think about home. If I let myself mope, I knew that would be the end of any motivation I had. If I wanted to stay strong, I would have focused on what lay ahead. School starts next week. I need to find somewhere to stay before then. What little I'd saved up had only paid for a couple nights at this motel.
Oh, Lord.
Okay, this doesn't seem amazingly planned out. I'm a little worried now.
I mean, like the 80s. How would you do this in the 80s? I have no fucking idea. They didn't have Zillow. There was no Airbnb.
Yeah. Does he just need to like find a job and a place to stay, like on the fly with no internet?
Walk in with a charismatic look on your face and a strong handshake gets you a job.
Remember job interviews happening in person and not via the algorithm? My personal mission in life is to never be in another job interview ever again. By the next morning, I was sitting in the motel office, reading over the morning paper, eyes wandering through the classifieds, looking for any job openings that I might be able to get started on immediately. Wow, right away. The plan was just to just drive across just drive across the country to a place you've never been to before, just start college, and just pick up a job just on the fly. Just hope one's there.
Apartment searching, you know.
They've got a rental store here? Man, that'd be perfect. The badger behind the desk told me how to get to the store in the town's heart, and after freshening up, off I went. Following the directions to the letter, keeping my head straight, doing everything I could think of to start my new life off in a good way. The town square was one of the most unique places I'd ever been. Each building looked as if it would fit right in with a good spaghetti western, if not for the modern signage and electricity. Video Den stood proudly on one corner, and it was the most colorful. Tall windows filled with posters, community flyers, and a help wanted sign. A banner hung under the second floor windows reading, "Welcome back, pioneers." A video store, when it's not a nostalgic throwback, but a place that actually has a purpose right now.
Wait, they had the little social media tweet video that was the Video Den advertisement.
Oh, did they?
Spoilers.
Oh my goodness.
I think I know where we're going to work.
We've got
Maybe
custom
it's in the
art.
first illustrated background.
It is the first illustrated background, almost like we're going to be here a lot.
Maybe
like a lot. What can I recognize?
Bears 2.
I definitely thought that was Amicus for a second there. On the logo. God. Oh, there's a lot of fake writing everywhere.
I'm seeing kind of like a Sailor Moonish thing all the way on the left.
I see a copy of House.
I think Sailor Moon was in 80s. House, yeah.
Yeah, that's the iconic cover of the movie House, that orange screaming face in the middle of the screen. There's a lot. There's a lot here. I feel like these all are reminiscent of things, if I could unpack it. I know, this is like one of those moments where you see like the bedroom of the main character, and there's posters up and everything, and it's your chance to like spot what are often like references to other visual novels.
Well, yeah, if we're like clobbering you over the head with like an ET shirt in the first few minutes, like I got a feeling like movie references might be this game's thing.
Yeah. When did Silence of the Lambs come out? I'm trying to unpack the muzzle on the poster.
It's 1991.
I don't know what the muzzle. I'm not nostalgic about the 80s. Is my dark secret. I don't care about the 80s.
No.
It always feels
Vaporwave.
It always feels like straight people nostalgia. Like, oh, I love Rambo. Okay. Whatever the fuck happened to it. But the art's cool. We're gonna be seeing a lot of this.
For sure.
Wasting no time, I slipped into the store and felt at home almost immediately. The scent of popcorn in the air. Right, they do sell popcorn at VHS stores, which is it feels weird for some reason.
Wait, like already popped?
Yeah, if I remember correctly, like at Blockbuster and stuff, they would have like a popcorn machine because you're getting a movie.
You could put it in like a bucket or something.
Yeah, you're getting a movie. You're having the home theater experience.
It'd be like so inconvenient, like carrying your buttery fingerprinted videos home.
It's extremely goofy. Sound of a movie playing nearby. An enormous wolf was standing behind the counter, going through a box of overnight returns. Here's the question. Does he have a Sprite? Yes, he does.
Oh, he sure does.
And it's haps as fuck. Alright, what's Vincent sound like?
I don't know, should I be taking this one, or you?
Yeah, I think so.
Alright.
Your character's gone now.
No more New Orleans. Good morning.
The wolf's voice was deep, but had a pleasing calmness to it. He smiled for a moment, eyeing me before going back to the tapes. Good morning. I continued to look around, almost forgetting the reason I even came to the store in the first place, until the wolf spoke up once again.
Say, I don't think I've seen you before. New in town?
Yes, sir. Just got in yesterday, actually.
Freshman, then. Well, welcome to our little town. Anything in particular you're looking for?
Yeah, actually. I saw your help wanted ad in the paper. I thought it'd be a good idea for me to start off on the right paw here. The wolf slid a tape into a rewinder and moved closer to me. The lupine was distinctly taller, almost a foot above. It made me empathize with Tobin's height challenges. He seemed to eye me up and down, sizing me up.
Remember when you fool yourself on a movie just by not checking if it was rewinded first? Oh, yeah. Man. Name's Vincent. And what would yours be, pup?
Cody, sir.
Couple of questions to get out of the way first. Do you know a lot about movies?
Yeah, a good bit. Back in Nolans, I was part of the film club. Made a lot of my own films with friends.
Always happy to see a fellow film enthusiast around. Any prior experience working a register, or retail for that matter?
No, sir. Well, I worked a cash box at school sporting events selling snacks and such, but I'm real quick with math. Vincent was hard to read. I couldn't really tell one way or the other if he was pleased with my answers so far. All I knew was that he was keeping his eyes fixed on me.
Well, you say you make movies. Got any other hobbies?
I enjoy drawing, do quite a bit of it to plan my scenes, and just for fun. Helps when I take the lay of the land, too, for map making. I smiled, hoping my answers were good ones, standing a little too stiffly upright as the wolf continued to size me up. I felt an uncomfortably long silence, as if the owner was looking at something about me that I couldn't see.
An artist, you say? Tell you what, I never mind training a young pup, especially one that's already a film enthusiast. Oh, train me, Wolf Daddy. But I'll need a little more out of you if you want the job. I'm running a special this week on horror films. Half off on the rental fee. If you draw me something to promote it in a fun way, consider yourself hired. Don't do this. Don't come in from an art. Don't do spec work. But in this case, do, because it's the 80s and everyone loves each other. It's fine.
And everybody loves each other. I'd be delighted to, sir. The wolf motioned with a paw, and I followed close behind, watching as he pulled a box of pastel chalks from under the main counter, then gestured the door. Don't worry, you can trust this guy. He has a sprite. That means we get hired. The economics of visual novels.
I immediately see him, I'm like, okay, so he's not a homophobe because he has a sprite.
Yeah, I wish real life you could tell who had sprites. That'd be really helpful.
Wow. There's a chalkboard right above the night drop box. Show me what you got.
Show me what you got. With an enthusiastic nod, I grabbed the box and wandered outside. It didn't take me long to come up with what I thought was a good idea. After a mere 15 minutes, I'd drawn it all out. An impressive and rather intimidating drawing of Freddy Krueger, the lion. He's a lion in this universe. Slashing the rental fee in half, as well as a twist on the sinister rhyme. 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you. 3, 4, better rent some more. Just as Vincent stepped outside to check on my progress, Fox wandered over to check out the sign. Horror movies are discounted. Awesome. Do you still have that one? In?
Yes, sir. We have several. First shelf straight ahead on your left.
What if you did an ad for Freddy Krueger and then they didn't have any copies of Freddy? Just immediately bad news. The wolf was smiling at me, and for the first time, I didn't feel like he was sizing me up, which was a rather nice feeling.
Not bad, pup. Not bad at all.
Good boy.
He's calling me pup, and wait, otters do otter.
Yeah,
otters
pups
are called pups. As I see. You got time to start now, or do you need to get settled in a dorm first? Holy shit, this moves fast. This worked out.
We need a job. The question caused a lump in my throat. I was hesitant to bring it up. Well, yeah, I'd be delighted to start now. Don't actually have a dorm room, though. Could barely afford the tuition and books.
Stay.
That did not transmit.
Oh, no dorm? Where are you staying?
There it was again. The gaze that felt like he was looking at more than just my figure. Ooh, woo. Seeing something I couldn't. I wondered if he was just great at spotting a liar. Old Pine Motel. There was an awkward amount of silence as the wolf seemed to mull something over in his head. He briefly glanced past me at the artwork, then back down at me, flashing a quick smile.
I can trust you, right? You'll be a good pup. No, Jesus, it's laying on thick. Treat our customers with kindness and keep lending your art talents.
Ooh, it's tug on my collar. Yes, sir. I promise I won't let you down. His questions had me feeling hopeful. I'd have a job at the very least. Already an improvement in my eyes as I worked to distance myself further from my pa, and more into a life of my own. For a moment, I felt connected to Vincent, like we were on the same wavelength. I could almost sense that his trust in my words was growing by the second.
Tell you what, normally I wouldn't even offer this, but I see promise in you. It'd be a really great asset to my little shop.
Are you about to get adopted?
It kind of seems that way. So I've got a special one-time offer for you. If you're willing to work for half wages, you can have a little apartment above the store. It's not much, but it sure beat being off the streets when winter comes. Deal?
My eyes went wide with shock as I nearly jumped out of my fur with excitement. Never having considered this morning could have gone as well as it had. Yeah, no, I don't know how this I don't know how this trip wasn't gonna work if this guy wasn't magic and just immediately a solution to your problems. How are you gonna live? Pa always told me I'd find nothing but failure in my life if I didn't stick to his plan. And here I am, proving him wrong. Maybe there's hope for me yet. The wolf was extending me a lifeline, a solid chance to keep making something of myself. I'd be a fool to say no. Vincent was smiling at me. Surely he could tell how enthused I was by the offer. Are you serious? Deal.
Well, come aboard. Let's get started with your training. You can get moved in tomorrow. Just need to tidy up in there first. Been using it as storage for some stuff.
So many bodies. Vincent spent... gotta take down the swing. Vincent spent
that's more what I was going for.
Vincent spent the better part of the morning training me, going over every single detail of the job and tasks that needed doing. It was a little overwhelming at first, but I refused to let him down.
As an employee, you're entitled to one free rental a week. I'll also give you new releases to watch the day before we put them out, so you can be better informed for our customers. Once you've got your semester schedule, let me know what it is.
You've got movie homework.
I'll see about working your hours into it in a fair manner. And try to keep your free days as your days off.
My first shift was going quite well after that, loving the compliments I was getting about my artwork and settling into my role. By mid-afternoon, I seemed a natural for the job, looking like I'd already been doing it for years. As I went about shelving some movies, I was unaware someone outside had stopped dead in their tracks and hurried inside. Who? Somebody knows who we are? Well.
Yeah, this has gotta be new.
Cody, is that really you? A familiar, though more mature voice filled my ears. The sound of it made my heart skip a beat, and I turned to face the speaker. At the sight of him, my mind wandered backwards to the best summer vacation of my life. This is an old crush. This is an...
Whoa. Flashback.
Whoa. It's been 8 years come and gone since that fateful July. The first 2 days of summer camp had been the worst. I felt so nervous all the time, far from home, afraid to try and make new friends. But by the third day, I was approached by Aldrich, the confident and friendly German shepherd, who was able to make me feel at ease almost immediately. We became fast friends, and day by day I would hang out with Aldrich even more than the day before. We'd fall behind on hikes just so we could talk more, spurred each other on in competitive activities like archery, climbing, and tag football. After the first week, I was like an entirely different person, actually filled with the confidence to be my true self. Even Aldrich had been opening up right before my eyes, talking more about himself, filled with so much joy I could practically feel it radiating off of him. It was during our second week that we decided to break the #1 rule of camp. Don't leave the grounds. Hey, Cody, wake up. Groggily, I rolled over in my bunk, looking out at the silhouette of the shepherd in the doorway. Come on, sleepyhead. Don't tell me you forgot. I didn't. I was just faking. Aldrich flashed a toothy smile, easily spotting my lie, but it didn't seem to deter him one bit, motioning with a paw. Took a while for the counselor cabins to go dark, but it's all clear now. Come on. Where are we going, though? I told you. Go into the lake for a private swim. Hurriedly, I slipped into my swim trunks and wandered out to the cabin, yawning into the night as I stretched my arms towards the sky, whiskers twitching as I continued to shake off the sleep. Quietly, Aldrich led me further and further from camp, up to the wooden fence that served as the camp border. Come on, I'll give you a boost. The German Shepherd pushed his back against the fence and cupped his paws together in front of him. I didn't hesitate, stepping up, allowing Aldrich to push me up, grasping the top of the fence and clambering over. Get clear! Gonna toss my bag over. After a few seconds, the shepherd's bag landed near me with a heavy thud, no doubt filled with some snacks and towels. The sound of his running filled me with excitement. With a grunt, Aldrich grasped the fence top and pulled himself over. We wandered into the forest, accompanied by the hooting of an owl, the crickets singing, and the sounds of a lake lapping a shoreline, growing louder with each passing minute. You're never gonna believe what I found. I heard about it last summer from another camper. Just been waiting for the perfect moment to go. Feels kind of exciting. Being outside of the camp? I don't reckon I'd be happy here if it wasn't for you. Camp just seems kind of boring. Man, you have no idea. 3 years now my parents have set me here. First year was fun. But then the camp got stricter about stuff. Made it safer. Made it boring if you ask me. Back in the 70s, we used to just throw kids into the wild, see which ones came back.
That's exactly what I'm thinking. Just give them rusty nails to play with. Like...
Yeah. You either fight it off or you die. Hell, we used to have arrows with real tips on them. Now I got those stupid blunt ones that can hardly punch into hay. First time here, we got to climb real rocks. Now it's just that dumb wall. How is this guy nostalgic for a better time as a 10-year-old? That's a surreal characterization. That's how 50-year-olds always talk. Like, back in my day, we used to...
It's definitely that evolution.
When men were men. Sounds way more fun. My pa would have a fit if he found out about that. After a good 15-minute walk, we made it last. Aldrich pushed through a bush first, his smile greeting me as I came through. Fireflies! My eyes went wide with excitement and delight at where he'd brought me. It was a small, private, sandy shore on the lake's edge, looking like it had been untouched for ages. A lone cabin sat on stilts over the water, looking worse for wear. The remnants of a bonfire circle still lingering like a tombstone in memory of the fun that used to be. Whoa, what is this place? It used to be part of the camp before I started coming here. Back when campers got to actually enjoy more of the lake. Boating without tethers, fishing, lots of stuff. Wow, they changed literally every single element of this camp in between 2
Apparently
years.
so.
It's really extensive. What an overhaul. Plus, there's that. The shepherd pointed off to the shoreline at a floating platform 50 feet away, which held an elevated diving board, allowing for all sorts of fun. So much space for activities. But why'd they stop coming here? Dunno. Probably part of them trying to be safer, but now it's all ours. We can come out here every night if we want. Our secret spot. I can't believe that we have an otter that has a history with a wolf they haven't seen for years involving a lake.
I was gonna say, I'm like, and this is when the cryptid showed up, and then it turns out
Like,
it's a horror game.
hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. Race you to the platform? And now to introduce our third friend we don't talk about anymore in the future for some mysterious reason. I wonder what happened to him. Aldrich cocked a toothy grin at the challenge, setting the bag down by the bonfire rug, getting into a starting stance. Count it off. On 3. 1, 2. With a lunge, Aldrich started off before I finished the count. Hey! Hurriedly,
Shitty on our legs, don't even try.
Hurriedly, I charged after Aldrich, lagging behind as we ran along the dock. The shepherd was the first to jump in, and I was hot on his heels, diving in soon after. What kind of feet do they have in this universe? So it's just the looming question. It's the looming question in every furry visual novel, because there's the specific variation of how feet are made from like character to character in the furry fandom.
Well, so are you thinking like digitigrade or plantigrade?
Yeah.
Because then I wonder, like, what about otters? How are otter legs? How do they work?
Yeah, you've always got this looming question about this stuff, and then furry visual novels almost never show feet because they're sprites, so you have to like hunt for it, and if you're trying to figure it out. This was like this surfaced as a question during when I was trying to write about Ad Astra, and not only is there no sprite, but also like every single like concept art is ambiguous, and then every single damn CG where you could possibly see someone's feet, inevitably they're laying down, and if you're not standing up, you can't actually tell the difference between the two and how their ankle works. I just had to give up and just ask Haps. I'm just like, tell me what I just need to. I can't tell. It's driving me crazy.
This is my Ad Astra nerd coming up. It was the thing that sealed the deal for me was seeing that Cassius wore sandals in that one, like, in his bad CG, in his not good moment. So like, okay, that says something about how we work.
There's a particular style of like, they're plantigrade, but they have like clown feet. They got the big toes and the little ankles. He's got a real specific way of drawing them. We eventually figured it out, but I did just give up and ask him at one point. I'm like, I can't tell, and no one I can ask can tell.
Right.
Staying below the surface, deep enough that Aldrich finally couldn't hear me charging past in the water. I made for the floating platform, popping up with a laugh only a few seconds later, waving at the shepherd barely halfway to me. Hurry up, slowpoke. Hell, I wish I was as fast as you. Go for a dive. I can see you good from here. All right. I didn't even hesitate to climb the old rickety ladder on the platform, up to the diving board, not even wasting a second to make sure it was safe. After a run, I left off the edge of the board, swan diving into the lake with finesse. Surfacing with a gasp and a giggle, I looked around for the shepherd. What'd you think? Aldrich? The shepherd burst forth from under the water with a loud, playful bark, lunging on top of me, forcing me back underwater. I didn't even have a chance to shriek as I found myself under the surface again, hurriedly going back up to be met with Aldrich's laughter. I wasn't even mad, soon laughing along with him. Meanie? Nah, it's funny. You should have seen your face. With a huff, I batted the water hard and with an arm, splashing water over Aldrich, giggling with delight before turning to float on my back. Go on then, it's your turn. Sure, just let me show you how a pro does it. Aldrich swam over the platform and climbed out of the water. Heading up to the diving board, running along the bouncy surface, cannonballing off the end. He landed with such an impact it splashed up a mighty torrent of water which showered me completely. It felt like an eternity of joy as we played in the water, taking turns to dive again and again, challenging each other to breath-holding contests. I always won, of course, but didn't make it any less fun. Eventually, we both climbed onto the platform, laying down on the wet wood, staring at the bright, starry night sky, catching our breath as the warm summer air washed over us. What do you think? Best part of camp? Yeah. Let's come here every night. Don't gotta just swim. We can do other stuff. Sounds good to me. A shooting star streaked across the night sky, making us both gasp at the sight of it. Closing my eyes, I made a wish, enjoying the sound of Aldrich sighing, relaxing into complete happiness. What'd you wish for? Can't say. Won't come true if I did. I wish that we would come back together in 8 years. Well, if I made a wish, it'd be for us to be friends forever. Don't need to wish for that, though. Already true. And they never saw each other for 8 years?
Yeah.
Really? Of course. Even when we gotta go home. We can ride each other. Look forward to camp again. There was a hint of sadness in my eyes as I glanced over at the shepherd, reminded of something I hadn't brought up before. I don't think I can come again. My pa won my stay at a charity raffle. My dad joke won. Well, then we'll just have to write each other more. Guess when we're old enough we can meet up again, start hanging out. Promise? Promise. And then they forgot about each other completely.
That's pulling my heart. I like this a lot, though.
Yeah, it's sad. You're like, no, we're gonna be best friends forever.
But I do have so many questions already, where it's like, how the hell in Montana?
Yeah, where was the summer camp? Did they say where it was?
Exactly. Like, this doesn't look like Louisiana, but I assume Louisiana.
Yeah, because he was in Louisiana and he was in Montana. Did they just both coincidentally go to the same town in Montana? How does that happen?
Yeah.
We both went quiet for a while after that, just enjoying the night sky, basking in the afterglow of freedom from all the rules of camp. Every night afterwards, we came back to our secret spot. We'd swim more. Aldrich taught me how to play a few card games. Each night ended with a new tradition, sharing a ghost story. Aldrich always seemed to favor mine, told me it was cool hearing about all the swamp monster stories I had to share. On our final night of camp, we were laying on our private beach for the last time. Aldrich sighed softly and glanced over at a curious look on my face. Hey, Cody? How come you're so good with your stories? Reckon it's because I live them. What do you mean? 2 friends back home. We started sneaking into a movie theater, watching all the scary stuff we ain't supposed to. We started making our own movies. It was so much fun. Coming up with all the spooky stuff. A long time. That's why it's like that map has to be adorable. Like it's like created by 8-year-olds or something. Beautiful. Because they said that they had it for a decade, which predates this. Yeah. Coming up with all this spooky stuff. Got this book on effects. I don't understand a lot of it yet, but it's fun doing what I can figure out. Can make fake blood, slime, lots of other stuff now. I wish I could see them. I wish you could be in one. Really? What would I do? Looking at Aldrich, I began to size him up. His shape, character, overall appearance, quickly making up my mind on what role I'd write for Aldrich. There's a scene where the two of us lean over towards each other from across some rails. The hero. Oh, that's not off topic. Leo wishes he was the hero. Oh, that's no fun. I want to be the monster. That can be your dangle and your devil.
Please don't be fanatic. Don't be foreshadowing.
Hang on, he's like, hang on a minute. I can make you a monster then. The thought of having him in one of my movies was weirdly exciting. Everything about Aldrich was exciting to me. He was so different from my life back home. My friends meant the world to me, but the shepherd was so different. Everything from the way he spoke, his life, where he came from, it was all fascinating. He was the first person in my life, not even my friends, that I felt comfortable being entirely honest with. That next morning we were being loaded onto different buses. It was the first time I ever felt sad about leaving camp. Going about checking my bag to make sure I'd packed everything back in. Cody! Aldrich shouted out, running across the cabin yard to greet me. I wanted to give you something. Almost forgot. He fished around in his pocket, pulled out a small, cracked open geode. It glistened with a vibrant array of black, deep blue, and white crystals. My eyes going wide at the sight of it. But, don't you want it? This was established at the very beginning of the game, is that he had a geode.
The one minute.
Yeah, it's a.
Oh,
yeah.
That's fucking cute.
Like the second line of the thing was that there was a geode on his counter when he woke up at his dad's house, which he got kicked out of. But don't you want it? Nah, I know you got a dud, so you can have mine. Something to remember me by. He handed over the geode and I twisted it gently, letting the crystals shimmer in the light. It's so cool, though. Not as cool as you. Aldrich smiled brightly, playfully punching me in the arm. I hardly noticed as I continued to admire the geode. Don't forget to write. I want to hear more about your movies. One of the counselors called out for the lingering campers to hurry up and get on the buses. I will, soon as I get home. Sitting on my bus, I felt the pang of sadness again, staring out the window, watching Aldrich's bus rolling away, sending him on his journey back home. I'd never forgotten that summer together. For a couple years, we sent letters back and forth, talking about this and that, silly little things. At least until 8th grade, when Aldrich's letters stopped coming. I always wondered if he was mad at me, or forgot about me. I stopped sending letters only a month after he stopped, doing my best not to dwell on the friendship that had drifted apart. Yet, I never gave up all hope. Oh my god!
Oh my god!
He is bursting out of that shirt.
What?
Look at him!
Holy... We're supposed to be like 18 now, right? This is where we've got our Bara body types coming out here.
Came out quick. I mean, maybe he's 19. His quote-unquote more
Maybe
mature
so.
voice. Although I guess familiar but more mature might just mean an older version of the character.
Yeah.
There he is. So he's the love interest, right? That's the takeaway.
Maybe, possibly.
That seems to be what this is going for. Well, that seems like the cliffhanger to put people on then to get them to check out the game.
Absolutely. I'm down. I love like childhood friends evolve into something more in their adulthood lives. Oh my god.
Yep.
My favorite thing.
Yeah. Well, we're about 2 hours in, so it's about our place to cut this for our preview. If you want to check this game out, there's a link to the store page in the description, so you can check this game out on your own. Also, thank you for joining me, FullPurp.
Mm-hmm.
He's the one who made both of those animations, what you've seen on this channel, and are still trending there's always at least one of them is still currently trending as one of the top 10 videos of the month at any given moment. Like, I'm amazed that those are still finding people. That's cool. You can check out
Very fun
FullPurp
thing.
on Twitter as FullPurp if you are 18 or older.
Very true.
And no other ages, because there will be 18 or older material
you're
exclusively.
You're completely opting into the specific experience there. No joke.
But if you like those animations, he's got even more for Echo and the Smoke Room, and then a bunch of comics about the games and Remember the Flowers, and he's got this Bottomless Butlers series where where Nightmind,
a character named Aldrich, is there also awkwardly.
Yes, and you recently had Nightmind voice characters in like a voiceover version of the comic thing on there. So
dub.
There are things to check out on that Twitter if you are of age.
Yeah.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.